welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the first get ready with me that I'll be posting in December, and I thought it would be fitting for a Vlogmas get ready with me to bust out my Simply Posh Gingerbread eyeshadow palette in the theme of the holidays, in the holiday spirit, if you will. When I saw this palette teased, I was like, I must have this one. I have two other palettes from Simply Posh. I've been really impressed with both. I regret not buying their Snow Angels palette, I think it was last year. And when I saw this color story, like the warm brown side and then the fun pops of color and pastel, I was like, yes, please. Like, this is coming home. This is one of the releases of the year that I feel like I've been most excited about. I don't know if it's the way that everything's laid out or just the selection of colors I think is just so fun. I feel like the pastels are perfect for a gingerbread themed palette, and I am so excited to play around with this. So we are creating obviously the look that I have on my face today. If you want to just hang out, chill, and get ready with me, well, I use this and some other mostly older products in my collection, then stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project panning content, palette themed content, or just hanging out and chit-chatting about makeup, that is what we do over on this channel. So I hope you'll consider subscribing before moving on. I am trying to post every day in December for Vlogmas. I don't know that it's going to perfectly work out, but I would love if you subscribe if you haven't already. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Good morning, you guys. I am super excited to dig into the Simply Posh Gingerbread Bakery palette today. I think this is like quite possibly the cutest palette to ever exist. I am so excited to dig in and play with this. Today I thought we could have a little bit of fun with playing with some of the browns, but also doing like a pop of color. So I'm thinking about doing something with a bit of contrast and starting with these dark browns, but then doing like a pop of like the blue or this like I don't know if like greeny tealy shade right here. We're gonna see what happens, but that is my plan going into today's eye look. I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit more, and the only thing I have on my face right now is a moisturizer, and then I did prime my eyes using my Ulta Beauty Matte Veil Longwear eye primer. I'm gonna start by going in to the shade Molasses up here, which is a really, not really dark, but like it's a darker shade. It'll be interesting to see if I feel like I need to pull another shade in to kind of clean up the edge. But we're gonna jump into Molasses. This is my third palette from Simply Posh. I have the Coastal from last year, and then I have the, oh, what was it that came out this year? That was like the sister to Coastal. I haven't even used that one yet, so shame on me. And now I have this one. I'm really mad at myself for not picking up the like winter release last year. I think it was called the Snow Angels palette. That one looked so pretty, but it was towards the end of the year and I still had so many palettes I was working on testing in my collection. I ended up skipping that one, and that one you can no longer get. I have had really good luck with Simply Posh palettes. I love the way that they lay them out. I will say the Coastal palette, like when I first used that palette, sometimes I felt like it was almost like I finished my eye look and I didn't feel like everything was like perfectly blended together. But then about 30 minutes after wearing, I felt like everything just kind of like settled and set on my eyes, and then I thought it was beautiful. So I definitely want to keep that in mind today if I feel like everything's not maybe blending as perfectly as I want it. I feel like there's a little bit of, I don't know if maybe there's glitter on my brush, but I'm noticing like the slightest amount of glitter in this shadow. But I did grab this brush out of my not clean brushes, so it could be that I was just using this. Oh, what shade have I been using? A fluffier brush with sparkles. Oh, I think, oh, the ABH Haze palette. That makes sense. Okay, I do feel like I want something like slightly lighter to just go along the edge. I don't know if the shade Pastel Sweets is what I want to use though. It's almost just like I want like a light matte. I do really like the way that that shade blended out. I can't tell if it's, yeah, that was just me. I'm like, that shade blended out really beautifully. I'm pretty sure the glitter was from the brush, not from anything to do with the matte shadow in the palette. Maybe if I just take a clean brush. I have this new one from Alter Ego. They sent over, they have a bunch of new brush sets and they sent everything over. The eye brushes look a little bit bigger than I typically would use. Right now this is a 210. It just looks a little bit larger than I would typically use, but I'm wondering if I can just use this to soften the edge really quick. And I'm stupid because I brought that brown all the way in and I realized I'm gonna go in with the blue. I'm gonna take just a little bit more of that molasses shade and just bring a little bit more out on the outer corner. Even though I am also gonna go in with a darker brown. And then again, just trying to soften the edge a little bit. Okay, I am probably eventually going to want to clean up even more the edge, but we're just gonna work our way there. Next, I'm gonna take the darkest brown shade in the palette. This is in the shade Chocolate Chips. And I am just gonna use that to build up the depth on the outer part of the lid. Speaking of molasses and chocolate chip, let me know what your favorite holiday like treat is. I love a molasses cookie, like a molasses, like iced molasses cookie. Oh my gosh. But also growing up, we used to make something that my grandma called haystacks. Tell me before I describe what a haystack is, if you know what a haystack is. So a haystack is essentially a marshmallow that's dipped in caramel, and then like you take that and dip it in Rice Krispies, and it is so freaking good. And I also love a good peanut butter chocolate star cookie as well. I'm gonna take a slightly smaller brush then. This is actually an older Alter Ego brush. This is the 204, and I'm gonna go back in with molasses, and I'm just gonna use this to blend out chocolate chips. Okay, I'm just gonna take a little bit of the shade Dough here, and I'm gonna use that to blend out or to soften the edge. Taking a clean brush. And I'm not gonna as much focus it on the inner part of my eye here, just because I'm going to be going in with that like green and blue, but I'm going to try and use this here. Hopefully we won't get too scary. Then going in with that brush that didn't have shadow on it. I do think all of these shades are really pretty though. Okay, I'm gonna pause here and we're gonna move on to this like minty greeny teal. This is in the shade Peppermints. Oh, it kind of reminds me of those like colored peppermints. I'm gonna take this on a Singe EO4 and I'm just going to start by tapping that along the inner part of my like lid crease. And I'm gonna bring that onto the lid as well. I will go over top still with a shimmer, but just laying it across the lid as well. I definitely could have laid a white base down if I wanted a little bit more of a pop for this shadow. This is my first time playing with the palette though, so we're just kind of seeing how things are going. I love that we have like the 9 pans. I forgot to say this in the beginning. I love that we have like the 9 pans of like more neutral shadows, but then we have like the 9 pops of color. And pastels just kind of like make me happy. And typically I think of pastels in the spring summertime, but I love the way that they're utilized in this gingerbread palette. I feel like it like totally makes sense for like a gingerbread themed palette. All right, and on that same peppermint shade, I'm taking a fluffier brush, or in that same peppermint shade, taking a fluffier brush and just blending that into the crease and bringing that up. Do you feel like that's blending away kind of? I almost wonder if I should have like laid down a glitter glue or a white base. Again, kind of depends on like the level of contrast that you want. I still think we can make this work in the way that I want, but definitely something that maybe I would consider if I did this look again. taking a little bit more molasses and just using that to kind of connect these two. And then just blending again a little bit more of that peppermint shade, and then taking a little bit more of dough right across the center here. Okay. I think we're gonna leave it like this just for now. I'll match the other eye and then we're gonna go in with our shimmers. Okay, I think the browns are so pretty. I love that like darker brown and like how kind of warm toned it is. Anyway, we are going to dig into a fresh NYX glitter glue primer. And I'm gonna take this across the majority of my lid. I am gonna put the like darkest shimmer on the very outer part of my lid. So I'm gonna bring this like basically from the inner part all the way out. And again, I know we are then like kind of taking away some of this pastel. I'm just hoping this all comes together. Then I'm gonna take Soft and Warm here. This looks like it is going to be a beautiful shade. I'm not gonna take it all the way to the outer part of the lid. I do wanna keep some of that like brown on the lid. But I'm gonna start right about here, maybe like a third of the way from the outer corner, and I'm gonna bring this about halfway in. That is such a pretty and impactful like taupe that almost has, it definitely has like some silver sparkle throughout it, but it almost has like a, maybe a greeny sparkle as well, just like the slightest bit. I don't know if like a green gold. It's so pretty. Maybe it's because it's like right next to the pastel. It's just reflecting that way. Okay, and then I'm going to take Bake Shop, which is that blue, and lay that down on the inner half. That is a really fun sparkly blue. Obviously, I'll have those two cross over just slightly there. I do feel like we've lost like a majority of that pastel. I feel like something different, like I need to do something different next time. Again, a white base, perhaps lay glitter glue down earlier, or yeah, like a glitter glue down before that pastel. And I get we're like laying shimmers on top of it, so I don't know if I had just gone in with a matte and done like a totally matte look with contrast, what that would be like. But I do think this blue sparkle is also so beautiful. Definitely getting a lot of glitter fallout on the bottom though. And I had some pastel fallout there on the inner corner. Okay, I'm gonna tap a little bit more of that pastel. And then just blending that out. Then just a teeny tiny bit more of dough to bring everything together. And I feel like tapping peppermints kind of, we lost a little bit of sparkle, so bringing a little bit more sparkle up. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here for right now. I'm gonna go try and get some of this fallout off of my face, and then we'll be back and we'll start on the face. I used eye makeup remover on my face. Clearly my cheeks. It looks like I'm a gingerbread with like little gum drops as cheeks. My cheeks are clearly irritated. We're gonna roll with it. I also had to take a quick food break because I was starving. Okay, we are gonna move on to the face. I am going to use, this could and probably will be my last use of the e.l.f. Power Grip 4% niacinamide. I have cut mine open and I am just going to kind of like dump out, if I can, what's left. And this would be a really, oh whoa. Actually, I probably could have, I probably have and could have done one more use had I not. I overused. But it'll be exciting to have another primer empty for year end. Actually, maybe I do need a little bit more. And actually, I'm filming this video on the 21st of November. I don't know when you guys will see it. I think the first week of December. But if my makeup rehab's already gone up, which maybe it hasn't. then either this is a spoiler, or like if you see it as an empty my makeup rehab and you're like, wait, how are you using that now? It's because I'm pre-filming. Okay. I feel like maybe because I cut that open, that was like, the way that it applied is, I don't know, just a little bit stickier than normal. Wow, and we're really adhering to these gumdrop gumdrop cheeks. All right, for foundation today, I'm gonna go in with my Vive Skin Nova Complexion Balm. This is definitely a little bit lighter coverage foundation, but it's been a little bit since I've reached for this, and I mostly reach for this as a mixer when I was reaching for this summer, because when I was reaching for it was when I was either had a tan from the sun or was self-tanning, and it's been so long since I've self-tanned. And I was saying this summer how much I loved this product, and it was such a great mixer, and I wanted to buy it in my like summer shade because I wanted to use it on its own. But now I'm definitely light enough to use this shade on its own. So we're gonna do that and see. I think I've worn it maybe like 1 or 2 other times on its own, and I do think it is a very beautiful product. Again, just a little bit lighter weight, which I'm actually totally fine with today. I will say I don't love how it's applying with this brush. I'm just taking a little bit on the back of my hand, and then I'm gonna use a beauty sponge. I honestly maybe could have used my fingers. That may have been the best. I maybe don't love it as much on my cheeks right now, but that could just be because my cheeks are clearly irritated, and you can kind of see that through a little bit, but that's okay. We're obviously going to add concealer and powder, and it's nice to have just a lighter weight product on. All right, for concealer, I am also down to my last like pump of the NYX Bear With Me. Maybe I have a couple extra pumps, but I'm going to use this today because I am hoping to have this as a concealer empty. Yeah, I have way too much of this squirted onto my hands. That's okay. I might go a little heavy with the concealer today just because it is a lighter foundation. My cheeks just look so irritated. But I already feel like I have way too much concealer on. I actually haven't used this side of the Makeup by Mario like double brush to blend out concealer yet. So I want to try that. I bought this brush like right before I really stopped doing my makeup for a couple months there, and I feel like I never like really well tested this brush, but I was so excited to have it because so many people speak so highly of this brush. So now I'm really trying to use it a lot and kind of gather my thoughts before we do all of like the end of the year recaps, ranking, all that fun stuff. Okay, I do love the way that that blended concealer out, and I will say, I know I didn't love the way that it blended my foundation out today, but typically I really do like the other side of this brush for foundation. I might take just a little because I did 2 pumps of concealer thinking it was my last 2 pumps. I'm gonna take a little bit just because I feel like this concealer I've also recently been using kind of as a foundation as well, like mixing it with the Glossier Future Dew. I'm just going to take a little bit on my chin, which I feel like is a little bit red too. Okay, I like where we're at for the skin. For powder, I have been loving this combo lately. I do still love my, oh my gosh, my brain does not work these days. I do still love my Kosas Cloud Set, but I've been trying to get some use out of my What's Up Beauty, and I really, really love the What's Up Beauty as well. It's another like really lightweight powder, and I just think it looks so beautiful on the skin. So I'm gonna go in with this combination just because I've used a lot of the Kosas Cloud Set in my life. So let's keep rolling with this for a little bit. I'm going to use the Givenchy Prism Libre powder, the pressed one in Viola Rose underneath my eyes. I will say this is a powder that I definitely won't repurchase after finishing this one. I do think it can, depending on like the day, sometimes I do think it looks heavy underneath my eyes. I think it's really blurring, but catch me on a day that my under eyes are not well prepped, or just like, I don't know. There are definitely days that it just doesn't look wonderful underneath my eyes. Okay, but today I feel like it did actually do a really nice job of blurring. Taking my What's a Beauty Wind Dancer press setting powder in the shade Light. And I usually just like start by tapping the powder in, and then I'll take a little bit more and just kind of blend everything together. And I never feel like this powder looks heavy. I really just feel like this powder doesn't even almost look like anything on my skin. Maybe blurs just the slightest and just helps prolong the wear of my makeup. It's obviously not like the heaviest powder. I have dry skin, so like I don't necessarily know that this would work well for oily skin girlies, but I just feel like my skin still like looks like skin with this powder, and I love it. I'm gonna take some of the MAC Fix Plus and just spray my face because my skin is clearly so irritated and dry lately. So I want to just add a little hydration too and have that melt those powders in for me. Bronzer today, I recently rolled in my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Into Sun to my Deck of Panning Project Pan, and my goal is to expose the ring. And I don't want to give, I know I just showed you the powder, I don't want to give too much. If you want a spoiler, here's a spoiler. I've been like focusing obviously on this like bottom area because I think I'm closest to the ring there, and we do have like a second pan showing there, so I am feeling very hopeful we are gonna hit our goal by the 20th of December for this bronzer. And then I'm hoping that this bronzer is something that I can use up in 2026, because this, I believe actually this could very well be my oldest bronzer in my collection at this point in time. So it'd be nice to work out my oldest bronzer in my collection next year as an empty, and I would love to have at least one bronzer empty. Okay, for cheeks, I've still been reaching into my Kosas Blush is Life blush in the shade Blissed so much. I think this is such a beautiful blush, but I do want to do something a little bit different just because that's been like my go-to day-to-day blush. I do always like to do my highlight first and then my blush last, so I am going to go in to my Dior Frosty Quad again, and I'm not gonna go in with the blue just because I feel like, well, should I go in with the blue today? I mean, I don't have to work today, so like even if it ends up looking a little questionable on the cheeks, like it's not that big of a deal. Plus it'd be like a bit of a blue highlight. It's a very sparkly blue, but we have obviously blue going on the eyes. Let's just go for it. So I'm gonna take some of the blue shade there, and it's like a blue lavender. I actually have not used this yet as a highlight. It definitely has almost like that, almost but not quite, like that like UV blue sort of finish. There it is. That's not horrible. That definitely wouldn't be, I don't think that'd be what I'd reach for day to day, but I honestly was expecting worse. There's definitely like glitter in this, but that is not as like, I thought it might end up looking like a lot more bruisey on the cheeks. Maybe I'm gonna edit this back and be like, girl, that looks like a straight up bruise on your cheek. What are you talking about? But I actually think that's kind of pretty. We'll take some down the nose too, because why not? All right, then for cheeks today, I want to use a combination of these two. I forgot that I wanted to use my cream highlight today. I think it's a little too late for that. Okay, I'm gonna go in with this shade from the NARS New Realm palette. I believe it's in the shade Thrill. Okay, we got a lot. Tapping a little out on the back of my hand and then just tapping onto my cheeks. It is a lighter shade, so I feel like it is okay to go in with a lot. I just always get a little bit nervous. I do kind of want, because of the gingerbread theme, I do kind of want it to look like I have like cold cheeks. Okay, that might be, we may have taken it a little too far. I definitely could use work on like my blush bronzer and highlight blend as I've been doing more Get Ready With Me. So I'm like, okay, sometimes I'm like, girl, what is happening over there? But you know what? Makeup is literally just for fun. And who cares? Okay, we're very blush heavy, but we'll go in with the finishing powder too today. Like, do I want to warm it up a little bit and use the middle shade? I think I might do that. The middle shade right here, this like blush topper, is in the shade Thrash. Just going in with a little bit of this and tapping that on the cheeks. Okay, I might take just a wee bit of my beauty sponge and just tap over that just a little bit to kind of tame that a little bit. And then I'm going to take my Say powder. This is this lip tint undetectable baked powder. I have the shade 2 translucent. I do not enjoy this powder as like a powder to like set your face, but as a finishing powder, I've actually really liked it, like kind of repurposing it in that way. So just kind of like, we're gonna hope that that calmed it down. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit more of MAC Fix Plus, spray my face, do my brows off camera, and then we'll be back. We can finish up the eye look. Okay, brows are done. I have you guys zoomed in again so we can finish the eye look. I am gonna go in with Urban Decay Space Dust on the lower lash line. I wanted to do something lighter on the waterline just because I don't know, I want to do something lighter. I feel like I should try and finish this Urban Decay liner next year, although I'm probably still going to be working so hard to finish my Ilia Dusk eyeliner, which I've been trying to finish for years. For the inner corner, I'm going to take a little bit of this shade right here. I thought about pulling in a different palette to use on the inner corner, and I was like, no, we're going to use stuff out of this palette. This is in the shade Gumdrops, and this looks like one of my favorite types of like duochrome shifty shades. It looks like it has a bit of a pink base with some blue sparkle, which I just freaking love. I love this like all over a lid with like a lighter matte base. It's just so pretty. I'm just gonna take that lightly on the inner corner. I do want a different brush. Just like looking at the rest of this palette, I'm like so excited about so many other shades. Like I cannot wait to reach into a pastel yellow. Yes, please. Then for the lower lash line, I'm going to take the blue shade. This is Baked with Love, and I am going to start on, for sure, like the inner half of the lower lash. I'm like, do I want to take this just all the way across the bottom? I think I do. But now I'm like, ooh, does that look a little bruisey underneath the eyes? Maybe we'll take a little brown. Maybe we'll add some brown. I think I'm just gonna take a bit of molasses and just put a little bit of that on that outer like third of the lower lash too. I feel like, yeah, that helps a bit. And inevitably this eye is already watering in that lower corner. And I'm like, I feel like we're just spreading water down there. Okay, I'm gonna add mascara. Mascara combo today, we're gonna take Ilia Limitless on the lower lash and probably just Ilia Limitless on the lower lash. And then I'll take a combination of both the Ilia Limitless as well as the Rare Beauty on the upper lash line. Or the upper lash. What am I saying? Oh, I feel like my eyes are extra watery this morning. It could be because it's not even 6 a.m. yet. And it's like pitch black out. And these lights are very bright. But I'm like, please, eyes, do not start like dripping. Okay, love that mascara combo. Okay, and then for lips, I want to do something a little bit frostier. So I think I'm going to take Dayzette, or I think like my main lip product that I want to use is Dayzette from Lawless. But I'm first going to line my lips with NYX Peekaboo Neutral. I haven't used this lip liner in such a long time. My lips look so bad right now. Actually, I'm going to zoom you guys. Actually, hold on. Here is the eye look as of right now. How freaking beautiful and sparkly, especially that like taupey shade. I think that looks so pretty. Okay, zooming you guys out for the lips. I don't know why I want something like a little bit more pale on my lips. I hope this works out. Okay, I'm going to take Dayzette. I hope this is gonna give me the lip I want. That is frosty. Okay. Oh, Dayzette is such a pretty shade. That is definitely a Lawless Forget the Filler shade I would repurchase. Those are the lips then. I feel like they just look a little bit frosty, a little bit milky, but this is the final look using the Simply Posh Gingerbread palette. I am so excited to continue to play around with this palette. I can't wait to reach into Baked Fresh. That looks like such a beautiful like peachy pink base with like green running throughout it. I think gumdrops all over the lids is also gonna be pretty. I honestly think sprinkles, like not my typical reach, but I think that is gonna be so fun. I'm really just like, I'm excited about these 9 pans of like neutral warm brown shades. I think this palette is so fun, and it's like one of the releases I feel like I'm most excited about this year. The pastel yellow, as I mentioned, I'm very excited about, but I love the way that this look turned out. I think it's really, really fun, a little bit different than what I normally do, but also just like a neutral brown with like a pop of blue. So like, it works. I like it. You guys will have to let me know what your thoughts are down below. You'll have to let me know if you picked up the Simply Posh Gingerbread palette. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know maybe what your favorite shade is, or some color combinations you're really inspired by in the palette if you picked it up. But other than that, that is going to wrap up and conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you tomorrow for another video. Bye.